inner world and the light that finds us. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Hi, my name's Pastor Elisha Cho. Welcome back. I've read that one verse perhaps 10,000 times, and yet it strikes me freshly each time that before light was spoken into existence, there was formless darkness. Not merely an absence of lamps or candles, a profound constitutional darkness. And I wonder whether the writer of Genesis understood something about the human soul that our modern psychologists are only now fumbling in their own way beginning to rediscover. Stick with me to the end of this video. My own inner world was, for a great portion of my life, precisely such a darkness. Not dramatic, simply unlit. Now, I want to speak to you today about something which I believe is the central problem of human existence, though we have dressed it up in 1,000 disguises. We talk about finding ourselves. We talk about success and happiness and self-actualization, a word so ugly it ought to be illegal. But beneath all of this restless searching, there are only two kinds of people in this world. The first sort constructs an image, a finished portrait of who they intend to become, and pursues it with the single-mindedness of a terrier after a rat. They call this portrait success. They will sacrifice almost anything on its altar. And the tragedy is not that they fail to reach it. The tragedy is that some of them do reach it and find the portrait hollow. The second sort is doing something altogether different. They're not inventing a self, they are recovering one. They are restored to the original design. They have the peculiar and humbling intuition that their true image already exists, that it was given to them, stamped upon them at the moment of their creation, and that it has been lost, obscured, buried under layers of fear and pride and misdirection. These people are not asking, who shall I become? They are asking, whose face do I resemble? And the answer, if they pursue it honestly, leads them inevitably toward God. You see, I think we have terribly confused two things: finding the self and creating the self. The modern world insists on the latter. It tells you that you are the author of your own identity, that you may fashion yourself however you please. That authenticity means perfect self-invention. But this is precisely backwards. A painting does not become more fully itself by ignoring the painter's intention. It becomes more fully itself by expressing that intention completely. We are not our own authors. The sooner we make peace with that, the sooner we may begin to live. Now, here is where I must say something which will sound at first deeply unwelcome and uncomfortable. The moment of greatest spiritual danger is not when life is crushing you. It is when happiness seems almost within reach. When success is one more effort away. When comfort and honor and the admiration of your peers feel nearly graspable. Why? Because at that precise moment, you are most tempted to stop, to say, this is enough. This is it. I have arrived. But in fact, you have not. You have found a very pleasant waiting room and mistaken it for the destination. The pleasures of this world are not false. I am not one of those grim fellows who thinks joy is suspicious, but they are, to use a rather mathematical word, asymptotic. They approach satisfaction without ever quite reaching it. Every happiness we seize in this world is real, but it points beyond itself, as a signpost points beyond itself to a country it has never visited. True satisfaction, the deep, unshakable satisfaction, exists only in the external world. And if we attempt to drain that infinite thirst from finite wells, we will spend our entire lives so thirsty. There is a path to that eternal world, and I will not pretend it is a comfortable one. It is, as a certain teacher once described it, a narrow road. But do not let the word narrow mislead you. The road is narrow, yes, but the country to which it leads is not narrow in the least. It opens in the end into something so vast, so full of light and life, that the word kingdom barely contains it. I sometimes think of it as something like those great untamed rivers, the Amazon, full of primal vitality, teeming with a life that civilization has not yet catalogued or even controlled. The kingdom of God is not a well-manicured garden. It is something wilder and more magnificent than that. Along this road, you will meet pain. I can promise you that much without any hesitation at all. I have met considerable quantities of it myself. There's a saying, not Christian originally, but a true one, that what does not kill us makes us stronger. And I would add a qualification. It makes us stronger only if we reflect upon it rightly. Pain that is merely endured, merely survived, or bottled up and ignored, that pain calcifies. It becomes armor. And armor, whatever its defensive virtues, prevents both the giving and the receiving of real contact. But pain that is examined, held up to the light, asked what it is to teach, offered back to God as raw material, that pain becomes fuel. It becomes the very engine of growth, and that the old writers called sanctification. The process of being made slowly and at considerable cost into the thing you were always meant to be. Now let me say something about the eyes, your gaze, what you habitually attend to, what you fix your vision upon. This determines quite literally the size of your life. Of course, there is physical sight, what the retina records. There is the sight of the soul, what we notice, what we care about, what moves us. And there is a spiritual sight, the capacity to perceive, however dimly, the eternal dimension which underlies all visible things. Most of us live exclusively in the first category. Some venture into the second, and very few cultivate the third. And yet, and here I speak from a little bit of experience, when the third begins to develop, the other two are not diminished, they are enhanced. You do not see less of the world when you begin to see through it. You see far, far more. Anxiety, a sense of lack, the paralyzing awareness of other people's opinions, the strange and terrible pull towards self-destruction that some of you will know very well. These are not simply psychological problems to be managed. No, they are at the root evidence that the darkness has moved in and taken occupancy of rooms that were never meant for it. The light has a different intention for those rooms. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And on a certain day, in a manner that the universe itself had been holding its breath to witness, that same creative word entered the darkness. Not from a comfortable distance, but in person, in flesh, in the most vulnerable and shivering form imaginable. And the darkness could not comprehend it and could not overcome it. That light has not dimmed. It has not weakened. And the inner world that feels to you now like a jungle at midnight, formless, threatening, unilluminated, is precisely the kind of place that light was made for. Seek the face of God and discover yourself there. That is not mysticism. That is simply the most practical advice I know how to give. If you found this content helpful, make sure to like and subscribe. and I'll see you in the next one.